Oh. That changed its name. It's now called Hami. Oh. And King capitulated. Where I want you to go. Yeah. Maxim Gorky dies. I assure you, 68 is old age. I don't know, in the 30s? That was old. Ish. Government intervention. With political stabilization finally in place, we are prepared to enact a series of intervention reforms, or intensive reforms, aimed to restoring pre-crisis industrial power. Oh. That's nice. Coup in Siam, as usual. Quite an adventure. Poland falls to syndicalism. After complete collapse of the Polish government following the Black Monday disaster, Poland found itself in complete anarchy, with many different political factions vying for power in the vacuum of the Old Kingdom. This fighting has come to a close today as syndicalist forces claim victory, announcing their complete control of the country from the chambers of the defunct Regency Council. The international community has reacted with shock as the formerly conservative government of the kingdom has been replaced with a radical syndicalist government seemingly overnight. Time will tell how this bodes for Europe. A spine in the middle of the Reichspakt. Yes, it is. Look at that. The fucking totalists, too. A plot against Russia. Maria Spiridanova's death was a severe blow to the left SR, but many enemies of Savinkov's regime remain. As time passed, the Vozd has turned increasingly paranoid that he will go the way of the tyrants his younger self eliminated with a bomb in his hand. And to ease the paranoia, the National Republican Party has put a plan into action. Russian newspapers have increasingly begun to speak of a plot against Russia, orchestrated by the syndicalists and socialists in cahoots with Germany and the other powers. Numerous high-ranking public figures, such as Dmitry, that guy, and Dmitry Romanov, have published their own articles in which they assert that some bloodletting is necessary to restore stability in Russia. Under the organization of Minister of the Interior, Vladimir Manstein, a wave of mass crackdowns on suspected political opponents has begun. The Okhrana has been given extraordinary powers to search homes and arrest dissidents without the approval of any judicial institution. Several notable leftist politicians and publicists have disappeared off the face of Russia outright. While many are given show trials, others, especially the rank and file, deported. Wait, I missed a line. Especially the rank and file of the SR, Mensheviks and syndicalist parties are summarily executed or deported. Savinkov has personally presided over several of the show trials, especially those for his old comrades and socialist revolutionaries. In private, Demirovsky He has remarked how much of a catharsis it is to see the Okhrana, the police he used to flee from and fear 3 decades ago, now bow to his every whim. All enemies of the nation will be stopped. Ugh. I can't pronounce all these Russian names. Jeez, I always gotta do something while I'm trying to take a drink. Political bombings! And now we're in the negative again. Let's build something in the intelligence agency. Alright, what's next? Ural tractor plants, machine and tractor stations. Let's get this one. Ah, I can reform the military now. Yes. Yes, build something. Can I reform the Navy now? How far am I to getting out of this depression? Yeah. Which one will I do next? This one. What options did it give me? Oh. Yes. Let's develop some industry. Belgian Declaration of Independence. Good luck, Belgium. It won't do you any good, but... Yeah, that's what I thought. Belgium has joined the Reichspakt. They're not a puppet, but they're in the Reichspakt, so they're close to it. Supreme Privy Council. Those Savinkov and Kornilov have established a dictatorship. Disputes between Savinkov's NRPR Republicans and Kornilov's young officers can still endanger the cooperation of these two sides of the new regime. It is obvious that the government can't allow the left radicals in the State Duma and the monarchists in the Senate to use these controversies to destroy the rule of the army and the NRPR. To prevent such unwanted events, Savinkov has proposed a recreation of the Supreme Privy Council, which once had both executive and legislative power and consisted of a small number of the most important Russian ministers. Membership of the SPC, known as Verkhovniki, Russian, will consist of 3 party members with Savinkov on top, along with Kornilov and 3 of his old comrades from the Russian army. The council will be able to issue executive orders, which will have superiority over Russian law. History repeats itself. The myth of October. Though the Bolshevik Party may be destroyed and its influence rendered null by the syndicalist movement, the October Putsch, called a revolution by some, left Russia changed forever. This means that it is very easy to blame Russia's faults and weaknesses not on inaction, not on the failures of the current government, but on the Bolsheviks who supposedly ruined it all. And the NRPR is sure to take advantage of this myth. History textbooks are being amended. A mass propaganda campaign started, and the message sent that the Bolshevik uprising was not just an ordinary uprising. An international conspiracy, one which sought to destroy Holy Russia and make sure it never rises again, was responsible for funding the Bolshevik Party and supplying their uprising across Central Russia. And were it not stopped by force of arms, it would have left Russia broken, destroyed, and shattered. These textbooks make sure to note the fact that Vladimir Lenin has been sent to Petrograd by the Germans, and that many of the leading members of the Bolshevik Party were not Russian. Caucasians, Balts, Poles, and especially Jews. You wanted to revoke our rights in 1917. Now you will lose yours. And we lose stability. Bombings! Less stability. Oh, I can do stuff again. Oh. I don't have voting rights. Oh, Belgium has voting rights now, though. Damn it, Belgium. So what do I need first? I need to remove political instability. That's right. Yeah, that's done by event. So I just need to wait. Felix Yusupov and the SPC. The richest man of Russia, well-known aristocrat Felix Yusupov, has always wanted to take part in the political life of Russia. But even using his money, he could get only a small group of the supporters in the Senate and State Duma. The creation of the SPC, Yusupov has finally understood how he can get one of the highest posts in the Russian Republic. Yusupov has proposed to create the United Civil and Military Engineering Organization, with him on the top, which will use Yusupov's money as a startup capital. And in exchange for this necessary investment for our country, Felix asks us to make him the new Verkhovnik. Felix, you are the new member of the SPC. A failure of the bombing plot. Again, minus 6%. God damn it. He belongs elected president. Good for him. Oh. They went back and renamed themselves to the Kumal Khan. Or Khanate. No, he's dead. ANI wins Italian elections. You killed him and now he's dead. Republican victory in Brazil. No finer republic in Brazil. Vox Populi. I haven't heard that since... What was the game called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know how the fuck I forgot it. Bioshock Infinite. Yeah, Vox Populi were a group in Bioshock Infinite. So what's this about? Boris Kamkov, pre-1917 Sabankov's ally, and later one of his main enemies, who had become the leader of the Left SRs after the assassination of Maria Spiridonova, died this night in Moscow. It happened when Sabankov's combat squad broke into the house, where an illegal Left SR meeting took place, and Kamkov, trying to escape, jumped in the Moscow River and drowned. Oof. He didn't even get shot. He died because he didn't know how to swim. According to the famous sarcastic writer Ivan Rinin, the vox populi about this incident seems to be sneers or indifference, just like Sabankov and the NRPR want. Farewell, Boris. Farewell, Boris. I'll see you in my dreams. I'll see you washed Sting. Let's give some promotions. I don't have enough anymore. Admiral Kolchak murdered in Transamur. The leader of the 1925 coup, Rogue Admiral Alexander Kolchak, was recently killed by his own soldiers during a military coup in his beloved Transamur state. A man of great ambitions, he had contested our rights to rule the Russian Republic until his last breath. With his death, our society became a bit more pacified. So, the bastard is gone. Excellent! They got a big paternal autocrat movement. Damn it. Rip East Turkestan. Shattering the democratic opposition. Until this point, leaders and high-ranking members of the establishment parties, namely the Cadets, Right SR, and Octoberists, have gotten away lightly. As long as they did not raise too much of a fuss, they were allowed to keep on living and doing their jobs. The extent of which Russia is rapidly being transformed to Savinkov's wishes intimidates them, as much as it did the socialists, and so they ultimately decided they had enough. Viktor Chernov, Pavel Milyukov, and Aridan... I can't pronounce Russian names, goddammit. That person... I lost my place where I was reading. Yes. And that person have collectively drafted a manifesto in which they declared the formation of a movement to restore the Constitution, and sent a demand to Savinkov to resign and allow free elections. Savinkov was not pleased, and the regime immediately moved against the Democrats. A crackdown on Democratic leaders has begun. Numerous newspapers have been closed and their editors arrested. And the prisons overflowing with political arrests yet again. The downfall of the Democratic Constitutionalist left, the last possible challenge to Savinkov's unquenched ambition, dead in a ditch. Did you have to put him in a ditch? Maybe a shallow hole instead? "100th anniversary of Pushkin's death. We all love our poets." Cairo Congress. Or workers' demonstrations. Standoff in America. It's heating up again. And we got the Pacific States. Kornilov's death. Lavur Kornilov, Supreme Commander-in-Chief and President of Russia, passed away last night at his dacha outside Petrograd at the age of 68. With Kornilov gone, nothing stands in the way of Savinkov merging the post of Prime Minister and President, and thus becoming unassailable in his leadership over Russia. The merger was approved by a dubious plebiscite. More than 90% of the electorate voted da. Savinkov now rules a potent and aggravated nation, ready to shed itself of the many humiliations faced since the Weltkrieg, and step into the sun once more. Revolt commands. The great helmsman of the Russian nation is no more. We're politically stable. Republic declared in Serbia. Democracy in the Balkans? That's new. New fighter. I'm gonna want military police. Speaking of which, need to set that. Right there. Oh, never mind. Usupov's corporation and foreign investors. Excuse me. Turned out that using special executive orders of the SPC, Yusupov has seized some foreign factories, which he has included in his monopoly. Though these factories were de facto stolen from the Russian owners after the end of the Civil War by the foreigners, who didn't pay all taxes during the last decade. Anyway, they invested some money, and now we should give them compensation. Felix, you have to warn us. Stability. The warn us, man. The Purge. Though thousands have already been summarily executed and many more arrested for real and suspected crimes, Savinkov's paranoia has not been satiated. Enemies still lurk at every corner to him. and the syndicalists may come for his head any moment now. This is where one of the rising stars in the National Republican Army and the Deputy Minister of Interior, Viktor Abakumov, stepped in to offer a solution to ensure that Vol's rule is forever solid and his regime lasts for 1,000 years. The Russian nation must learn to fear, and above all else, its enemies must learn to fear. Abakunov's brainchild is a purge, not from the top down, done via orders to arrest this dissident or that dissident, but instead from the bottom up. All regional governors need to be given quotas of enemies of the state. They need to find, extract, and purge. Those who do not deserve a bullet to the back of the head should work off their debt instead. The Tsarist Okhrana laid the groundwork for deporting thousands of dissidents to Siberia. But this system can be modernized, industrialized, and turned into an archipelago of destruction. Even those who are not plotting against Russia must know their place. Abakunov offers to incentivize ratting out possible enemies of the state in workplaces, schools, or even families, creating an atmosphere of worry and uncertainty under which the masses will flock to the only thing which can keep them safe: loyalty to Volst. Even fellow members of the NRPR believe that Abakumov's proposal is crazy. But Savinkov is taking personal interest in the proposal. Okay, I have two choices. Bad and worse but better stability. It's only 4%. That all sounds rather dreary. And I pressed N. Press N to turn on day-night cycle. So do I want to go down here first or here first?